Gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of the Jade Mechanic Podcast. We're sitting at ASTA 2025, and I'm very, very blessed, very lucky to be sitting here with some people that I have an amazing. I'm a huge fan. I'm kind of fanboying it right now. I'm sitting here with the professor, Mr. Sherwood Cook II, and the man behind the camera, the magician of it all, Sherwood Cook III. So, gentlemen, this was the whole point for me coming to this, was to try and get down and have a conversation with you guys. And I can't thank you enough for being here today. So
I appreciate you having us on.
Yeah, absolutely. We were just finished lunch, everybody, and we kind of, we get a chance to talk about how great I think it is what they're doing for the industry, and not just, we talk about the recent, the GoFundMe that raised all that money for that young lady. Oh, that's literally life-changing stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, and I'm going to try not to get too emotional, because
that's how I get with it.
Yeah. It's not the first time that something like that has been done in this industry. But what amazed me was, of all the footage that came out of that, you guys never for once made it about yourself. You know what I mean?
We didn't do it.
Yeah, we didn't raise any money.
It was literally almost 4,000 of our followers that did that, right? We just put the word out.
Yeah.
So, no, that's people.
So can we kind of, how did she come about? Was she had she been a customer, or I want to understand, was a first-time customer?
She came in first time. She had been to another shop. They told her she needed an engine.
Yeah.
What year was that? 2013?
2013, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. And she just wanted a second opinion.
Yeah.
She didn't have any money, right?
Right.
So she brought it in. I wasn't going to look at the vehicle. I'm not day to day doing that. And
right.
So, but the guys were in the weeds a little bit. They were a little bit behind. We're like, sure, it's maybe we can grab a couple cars and potentially do a video, but help them out. And he grabbed that car. And so that happens. That does happen. What doesn't normally happen is me calling the client.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular case, looked the car over, got some preliminaries, started doing a video on it. And I said, I need to call her. I need to get some more information about what's happening. Got on the phone with her, and I'm like, she never asked for anything.
Right.
She was like, okay, so I'm going to have to pay you $189. I got to figure out how much. And I could just, you just get a feeling,
yes.
right? And anyway, I said, we're going to take care of you. You don't be worrying about having to pay us anything right now. We just need to figure out a game plan for you. And I got off the phone. I told Sherwood, I said, we got to do something.
Yeah.
I said, I don't know what we can do, but we've got to do something. So first of all, we're going to take care of this thing. I forget what we even started with. We put, you remember better than I do. I know we put wheel bearing.
It had safety problems. Yeah, we ended up having to put 2 wheel hubs in it.
Yep.
And we had to put tires on it, alignment.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was one of those things where it's like, well, anytime I see something that says the client was told they need an engine,
yes,
it's usually something that we can diagnose and do a video on at the same time. So it caught my eye, and then the rest was history. I just think it was cool how it all played out.
Well,
Yeah.
and what I loved is about the fact that we were just talking over lunch how you guys make it the priority. We talk about an oil seal leak as an example, right? And how the priority is still that the car is safe. It's not going to, if the customer is inconvenienced a little bit by having to add some oil to a car, that's still a better scenario at the end of the day than a customer that's driving around in something that's unsafe,
Yeah.
And that's what I love about, because what was taught to me since I've started this platform is truly to be what it is to be an advocate for our customers and an advocate for the industry. And so when I talk to other shop owners and other mechanics that are true advocates for the customer and the car, I immediately feel bonded with it, right? Because it's what I'm about. And I didn't understand it early part of my career, what it actually meant to truly advocate for the customer. Now, and I want to advocate for the technician as well. That's my whole platform.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so cool to see how that has come to the level that we can now see it, where you can change that young lady's life with way more money than just a car.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
right?
I think it's also good for people to see that there's good people in this industry, right? So not to put ourselves on a platform, but for the all of the exposure that this got was a good thing for the industry, because as you said before, people do this all the time.
Yes.
But a lot of people don't know that shops are doing this.
Yep.
And so when the outside, the clients and all the people that aren't involved in the industry see something like this, it brings a positive, impact to the industry, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah. And that's like we were talking at lunch how, I can't remember a channel that has had the trajectory that your channel has had in, I don't want to say a short period of time, but in the greater scheme of the internet and YouTube, it is a very short period of time. We've seen channels that have been around 10 years haven't hit the kind of marker and had the effect that you guys have. And that has to go back to the quality of content and the personality that you guys bring to it every day. Yeah, you're professionals. You know what I mean? And that's what we, again, coming back to, I want to always make this industry look better to the public and to the next generation of young techs that's coming in. And that's how, hats off to you guys for how you conduct yourselves, because it's really, really refreshing to see with so much that's out there now. We're inundated with different automotive content all the time. You can pick podcasts out where every third word is F this.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And or misinformation on the internet.
Oh, yeah.
That's a terrible thing too, right?
Well, we did a video on that recently too. That I felt was misinformation. Of course, the comments were, what they were, but I mean, there's a lot of great content. There's a lot of great content. There's a lot of great creators out there and technicians. I mean, I say creators. I mean, they're techs and shop owners that are putting stuff out. But how does anybody pick out the good from the bad?
Yeah.
That's what's difficult.
It is, really.
And with us, I mean, listen, I'm not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, and I've learned a lot from it, even in the comments from people responding to our videos.
We just found an issue because of one of the comments on a video.
We did a torque yield video, right? Torque yield bolts, because I'm a big thing about those are one-time use.
Yes.
And then people were putting up there's torque to angle, right?
Right.
And that really hadn't come across my radar. I think I've heard of it, but I don't remember it coming across my radar like that. I need to do some research on that, because if that bolt's reusable, then sure, we need to do it. But most of the stuff we work on are torque to yield. But that doesn't mean things always change.
Yes.
How can you can't know everything.
No.
And the good thing about, we're blessed to know that we've got so many people that watch our channel that leave comments that we read that like, oh, wait, hold on. That's something that we need to look into. Then we can pass that information along, right?
How about that Jeep, too, with the coolant temp
With
sensor?
the coolant temp sensor. I could have swore I looked at that Jeep coolant temp sensor. And the water, I thought that we did have one with the... They said somebody told me needed an engine.
Yes.
That seems to be the go-to thing right now. Need an engine.
Industry standard.
Need an engine and transmission. We've had a lot of need an engine and transmission. We had 3 of those in like a month and a half. That came from a dealer world, right? And I said, why are they doing that? But anyway, this one they were told needed an engine, had a cam sensor code.
Yep.
And got into it, found a connector with water intrusion. Yep. The weather pack seals on it were destroyed. And I thought, well, that's where the water's getting in. Somebody put a comment that we needed to look at the coolant temp sensor because it could be coming out of that. Now, I had that coolant temp sensor disconnected.
Yes.
I had that whole little mini harness on a bench. And clearly I didn't look in that coolant temp sensor good enough, because it came back to have the airbag light looked at. And let's look at that coolant temp sensor. Pulled, and sure enough.
And it's wicking coolant up into the... Which is a Chrysler flaw. I can remember back in my dealership days, we were seeing it with the power steering pressure switch would wick all the way up into the ECM connector.
I mean, back in the day, remember I don't know if you're old enough, but I'm old enough to remember the Nissan that would leak in the floorboard on the passenger side from the transmission fluid all the way into the engine module. So, but here's the thing: is like, how would I didn't know. I can't know everything about every car. Mm-hmm. These comments are fantastic. There's some smart people out there.
Because then we can make the video, and then so many people will see that, and that are going to, we love seeing that people see our videos, and then they tell us, hey, you helped me solve this problem quicker, and it's like, that's the kind of stuff we want to put out there where people can, solve issues quicker. And
that's always been my whole thing. Like my background was being able to, before I had a podcast and before I was on YouTube. I wasn't, but I would share Paul Danner's videos in the Facebook groups, right? And I would share Bernie Thompson, and way back when the gentleman Daniel Sullivan with the Load Pro, I would share his videos, right? Like Ivan from Pine Hollow, I would share because there's so many techs like me that were either at a dealer and never worked on any other brand, and we're just nerds about what how does this brand fail and how does that brand fail and all that kind of stuff, or guys that work in a shop, Sherwood, and like that don't get training.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, I'm an old head as well, where it's like I can remember before there was Facebook, I would hang out in IATN and I would just lurk, and you can remember the names.
I was a lurker,
right? And
yeah.
and the name, see Alban Moore and you know, all these names of people.
Gosh, now you're bringing me back. What was the guy? I talked to him actually. He loved trains. He passed away. Yeah. He was right in Gainesville, Florida. He was right down the road from us. Continental Imports.
See, I can't remember shop names or anything.
I can't remember his name, but yeah, he was a nice guy. He was very, very smart on Europeans. But
leave a comment if you know the name.
Yeah, thank you. So I would be sharing these when I started to run a Facebook group. I would just share videos for guys that couldn't get training, because it started out as people, I just want a bullet to fix this car, and that would frustrate me to no end, because as a dealer technician, where I was under the flat rate thing, if somebody came over and said, I got a car in my bay that I'm struggling like here, I was flat rate mentality where it's like, okay, leave it and I'll get to it. I didn't necessarily always want to help the person, right? I was a gatekeeper, I admit it. And so when people would get on a Facebook group and go, I just need to know how to fix this misfire,
just want to know what's wrong
car.
with it. Yeah.
And I'd be like pulling my hair out, because it's a misfire, dude. It could be 100 different things. What have you tested? Oh, I've tested this. How did you test it? Would be the next question. I was always answering a question with another question, and it drove people crazy. But so I found that if I shared the video, you could share the method better of what somebody's process, Paul Danner's process, Ivan's process, Eric O's process, right? They're all slightly different, but it all comes back to fundamentals. And this is where I started to find that there was a real lacking of fundamental ability in technicians. And that's why, so when I see your content now, like you're a sharp technician.
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that are way smarter than I am.
Sure there is. But you know what I mean? But it's like it's not every shop owner will be at your level. But in a perfect world, we wish they were.
Yeah.
And I mean,
or at least somebody in the shop.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be the owner. Just somebody that can help. Well, like my guys, when they come to me, just like you answered questions with questions.
Yeah.
They know over time. They know. Okay, you know, if they say, "Oh, I just need some help," well, what have you done? Okay, well, why did you do that?
Yeah.
What was it? What was the path that you got from that? What were you expecting to see?
Yeah.
You know, and now they know they need to have those answers, because I'm not the. It doesn't do any good. I mean, it's the old thing. You know, you can teach a man to fish or give him a fish, right? It's like the silver bullet thing. It's like Identifix, right? Identifix gets a very bad rap.
Huge.
And it really doesn't deserve it.
Nope.
It's a fantastic resource when used correctly.
Yeah.
It's just like a power probe. That's a fantastic tool when used correctly. It is a WMD when not used correctly, and Identifix can be a parts cannon when not used correctly, right? And I think that, but here's the thing: is like, do we blame techs that we're told, here's Identifix, use it to help you fix cars, but weren't taught how to use it, weren't taught how to test things, right? And don't look at the bottom where all the fixes are. Look at the middle, that they literally give you this really succinct, testing procedure usually, right? Yes. But how do we blame techs when they're not given the information, right? Now, once they're given the information and they continue to do it, okay, well, that's a different story all along. But like you just said, a lot of techs don't get training.
No,
they just don't.
And that's huge for me, because like I always, as a tech that didn't get training, if I was going to learn something, I had to go home and learn it myself. So I got on YouTube and I just learned, right? Because I would struggle at work with fundamentals. I was a guy that thought I was pretty sharp in the dealer, and I stepped out in the aftermarket world where I had to fix other brands, and I realized like I was not what I thought I was. I was still good. I had enough fundamentals from my pre-dealership days, some mentors that just taught me how to fix anything. But I had a lot of bad habits to unlearn. I had a lot to slow down, smooth as fast.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah. Sometimes you got to slow down to speed up.
Yeah. So can we kind of have a little bit of your background? And you know, the background is it's father and son here. But I mean, how did you get into this industry?
We did a video on that.
Yeah.
I was 13 years old. My mom owned a cab company.
Okay.
She moved us from Virginia Beach down to St. Mary's, Georgia. from the city to, at that time, a very, very small town. And she opened up a cab company. She had Volkswagen buses as cabs. And so that's what I started on. I started on air-cooled Volkswagens way back in the day. And, I was just doing speedometer cables. Most people that listen to this have no clue that, they used to have the old meters they were physical, right? Yep. The speedometer cable went into them and went out. They broke all the time. So I started replacing speedometer cables and then just, getting around any time I could get in front of the guys that were fixing the cars. I wanted to be there. I wanted to know how my mind worked.
Yeah.
And then eventually I went to work for a guy that was working on some of our cars. And that's basically where it started. I started with him, still know him to this day, love him to this day, and he's still around. And he is the person who I eventually got the shop from, because he moved off into a used car world, and and then he didn't want the shop anymore. At that point, I was basically running the shop for him. And so that was 29 years ago, as of July 26th, the day after my birthday. We also moved from Virginia Beach to St. Mary's on July 26th. So that was evidently a pivotal day in my life.
Yeah.
And so then I got the shop, and I really, the reason that I wanted the shop was because I didn't want to do Saturdays and Sundays. Mm-hmm. I could see the writing on the wall. The chains were already doing Saturdays. I could see Sundays were coming. And I'm like, you know what? I'm a single dad. I said, I don't want to be the song Cats in the Cradle. Always, I'm like, I don't want to be that guy. And I said, we're going to do this. I didn't have any money, right? The first money I put in the bank for the shop was the first car we fixed. And he used to sleep on a couple of chairs that would be in the waiting room because he was little. And, and listen, there were some trials and tribulations along the way. I mean, that first building, I lost that first building. Mm-hmm. Couldn't do it. Moved 1, 2, 3, 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we bought this. Bought the one that we have in St. Mary's, the one in Kingsland. We have a long-term lease on, but it's honestly just been trying to figure out what to both on the technical side. I don't have any formal training in the automotive world.
Right.
I've got trial and error and learning at the house. I can remember sitting with a scope on my floor in my trailer, hooked up to a little board, and making things happen.
Yes.
And these are times that you have in this. You have to give time to a profession. This isn't a job.
No.
And so you got to spend time training. If you can't get to training, it's so easy to get the training now if you find the right stuff online. When I was back in the day, they used to ask me, it's like, what do you want for Christmas? I want training tapes, right? I wanted the old VHS training tapes, and then it was DVD training, things. They used to think I was crazy. It's like, no, I love this. I want to get better at this. And then becoming a shop owner, we kind of touched on it a little bit on the way over here. It's like, I went through a lot of consulting firms over the years, each one giving me something, right? I'm not going to ever say anything bad about any of them.
Right.
They all gave me something to get me to the next step, right? And now we're 29 years later.
Now, something that has always been, I've thought was really cool, and I can remember hearing you talk a little bit about it, and you talk a little bit about it in your thing, is so you grew up in the shop, and yet, you kind of joked how you worked with your father a little bit, trying to learn how to fix cars and all that kind of stuff, but you said he just didn't have it. And I thought, that was... So can you kind of touch on that? I don't want to... I'm not trying to call you out. Do you understand what I'm saying here, Sherwood?
Yeah, it wasn't that I didn't have it necessarily.
That was my fault.
I had no desire to do it.
Okay.
Right? So it was, I don't mind doing a brake job or anything like that. Mm-hmm. I actually kind of find it satisfying, and right. I do enjoy the diagnostic side of the business, especially now. You think about it, I not only am there when he's diagnosing the cars, but I'm also editing the videos.
Yeah.
And so I'm training every time I'm editing a video, which is nice. I like learning that stuff.
And we can tell when you're there with your dad and you're talking that you know what you're talking about. You kind of you know what you're talking about.
Well, when we're doing the videos too, a lot of times people are like, why are you interrupting? Why are you asking that? I'm trying to ask the question that a normal everyday person might be asking themselves. and I can identify more with that kind of person. So, we have two different kinds of brains, and I'm not as good with my hands and stuff like that. I do like learning it though. And it's not like, my son, Micah.
Yes.
We
see him in the shop now, and it's the coolest thing.
Let me tell you about this boy. I'm going to brag on my grandson.
Oh, the Lego thing?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
This blew me away. And I know he's mechanically inclined. You can see it in his eyes. When he sees something, he is looking inside of it, and he's trying to figure out how it's working, right? And that's kind of always what I've always taught is like, if you know how something works, you can fix it.
Yes.
You don't know how it works, you're guessing, right? So you can see that in him. I bought him this Lego set. He said he wanted this Lego set. It was this Pac-Man video game Lego set. I think it was in a picture or something that we do.
Yeah, we did. We did a picture on it. Yep.
So it's a pretty intricate. It was 2,800 pieces, 18 plus. He is how old, Sherwood? 7, right? I'm like, okay. So he got this thing put together in less than 24 hours.
Wow.
And it's like gears and all this stuff because you crank it on the outside. There's a crank and it turns gears inside, which you have to put together. And then it turns all the little guys and they all move on the screen.
Yep.
Okay. So, he put it together. He's all happy. He shows it to me. We're good. And then it falls off the table. So he has to put it back together. So he does that. All right. Then
I think he wanted it to fall off the table.
I think he
wanted
too.
a reason to put it back together again.
100%.
Pretty sure that's accurate. So he was not upset that it fell off the table at all. But they FaceTime me last Friday, and it's like, hey, Michael wants to show you something. And so I'm looking, showing me the screen, and these characters are like going crazy, moving. And I'm like, what is? I mean, it looks digital at this point. It's not, it's little snake things, right? And I'm like, what the heck? And then Micah kind of puts this thing in front of me, and it's a controller. It's a remote control. And I'm like, that thing came with a remote control to do that? So, no. Micah takes the back off of it. He turns it around, opens the back up. Micah has taken his remote control car apart and taken the motor and put it on the gears, taken the thing, put it on the gears so he can do the game with the remote control. Now, that I'm going to tell you right now, man, that's beyond me.
It was pretty cool. When he showed me, I immediately was like, we're calling my dad.
Elon Musk might be knocking on your door in no time saying they want to recruit your grandson. That is awesome.
That's so
he was talking about, he was always wanting to see people doing things and wanting to watch.
Yeah.
Like, that's how Micah is. That's not how I was,
right.
But it took me a long time to be able to find where I was, where I fit in. And
your spot.
And that's, when I eventually convinced him after, I think, 9 months of trying to convince him to let me go up front. And I loved it. I remember.
Now he brags about you all the time, how you're essentially, you train every service advisor in your facility now, right?
Yeah. And we've come up with the class that we have, how to create a 5-star experience as a service advisor, which we do together, which I enjoy that class a lot. But yeah, it's really, I remember actually selling the first job. It was like on a 2008 Honda Odyssey or something, and it was all the flushes and everything on it. Mm-hmm. And I know I just started a controversy right there, flushes. But
yeah, you did.
I was so nervous doing that. I was so nervous calling that client. But after that, it was pretty much just like, I love this. This is fun.
And I'll tell you that he, like Micah is with, building things and stuff, that's what he is with people.
Yeah.
I will put him up against anybody as far as service advising go. And the reason is because he cares about people, right? And that's something that we need to realize in this industry is, we fix cars, right? But that's really not what we do. Mm-hmm. What we do is we make people's lives easier, right? Because, we take care of something that people must have. And instead of, trying to, it's hard to.
Instead of trying to maximize the dollar, we try to maximize the effect and experience is how I kind of want to look at it, right?
And something we were talking about earlier, and it's something that is, I think, it is controversial. It shouldn't be, but everybody has their own opinion, and everybody has their own way of doing things. We talked about that, right? If it's not unethical, I think do what works for you, right? If it's unethical, now we got a different deal.
Yes.
But for me, we want to look the whole vehicle over. A complete inspection. It doesn't matter if the client can't afford it to fix it. Those are the people you really need to do the complete inspection on. If nothing else, they really need you to do it.
Yes.
Because they need to be budgeting for it.
Yes.
Or potentially looking for a replacement. And I think a lot of shops feel like, I just want to get whatever money I can from people, right? And then if they can't afford the rest of it, oh well. We want to present everything to them. If that could be $6,000, $8,000, $10,000, it could be $20,000.
Yep.
Hey, you need $20,000. Does that mean you need it today? No.
No.
But I want you to know that to get this vehicle up to par is going to cost you X, right? Now we can talk based on your situation. It doesn't have to all be done today. Let's break it down, right? And safety and reliability, long term, and let's put a plan together.
Yeah.
And that plan could be, I'm going to replace the vehicle, and that's perfectly okay.
Yeah.
Right? What I don't like is, and there was a survey done a few years ago of service advisors. I think it was done at a dealership's level, and there was what they called a comfort number for service advisors. Did you ever hear about that?
Something about that, yes.
And the comfort number was $1,600, meaning that the service advisors would be comfortable presenting $1,600. I've done that survey, in some classes that I've done for service advisors, just asking them, what are you comfortable giving that you don't, it could be a lot, but you're okay with it. It's a comfort number.
Yep.
And it's still sitting at about $1,600 to $2,000. And so my problem is, if somebody comes in, an inspection is done. So the techs, again, we're trying to make people's lives easier, including our techs, including our vendors, including our service advisors. Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, vehicle comes in. Techs don't want to do courtesy inspections in a lot of shops because they don't get anything for them, right? And the service advisors don't present everything. It's like, well, the tech says, well, why do I need to do this full inspection? I know that they're not going to present it all, right? And that is a problem that we have, because some service advisors, they'll get a $6,000 ticket. I can't do that.
Yeah.
And they'll present $2,000. Right. And then the client will say, okay, well, it needs $2,000, okay, that's a lot, but let's get it done. Okay, cool. That's why it's a comfort number, because that's about the response you're going to get, right?
Yeah.
Most people. Then they come back in 6 months for another oil service. What are they going to be presented with?
Another
$2,000,
yes.
Right? And then this is going to go like this. Well, man, we just did $2,000 last time. Okay, it needs $2,000 more. Oh, okay, all right. Well, I mean, I got $2,000 invested in it. Let's go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, this is a conversation, real. Now the techs don't like it because they're not getting the whole job. They're just getting pieces. They're just getting pieces.
Yep.
And so it's not good for the client either. We're going to get to that in the next one.
Yep.
So they come back in 6 more months. Now this is where the conversation goes way bad. What do they get presented with? Another $2,000,
Yep.
right? And this is the next words that are going to come out of that client's mouth. Every time I come in here, it's $2,000.
$2,000,
right?
Yep.
No, it was $6,000.
Yep.
18 months ago.
Yep.
We just weren't ethical enough to present that $6,000 because we thought you might walk away with not do anything with us, right? For us, it's an ethical thing to say, here's everything it needs. Now let's make a decision based on what you're going to. And if your decision is you're going to trade the car in, that's your decision to make, and that's okay, right?
Yeah.
And I think that from a tax point of view, if they know the service advisors are doing this and doing it right, and presenting them everything to them and doing it in a correct way, those techs are going to be fine if they know the bigger picture is, I'm here to take care of that vehicle owner. I'm here to take care of that client. I've done my job. Service advisor did their job. Client just decided they didn't want to do anything. Fine. But you know what really happens? People fix the cars because cars are expensive.
And if they don't do everything, the best part of it is that you've given them everything that they need. And then what I would do is I would give them the list of what was left. Let's just say they decided that we gave them $6,000. They decided to do $3,200 of it, right? Well, let's just go with a bigger number. Let's say it's $9,000, $10,000 worth of work, but they know they want to keep the car,
Right.
and they do $3,500 worth of work right then. Well, then they know everything else. And the easiest thing as a service advisor is when they come back in with your list and they say, hey, I know I need my oil service, or they call you, I know I need my oil service. I want to go ahead and knock out these 3 other things on the list.
Right.
I know we're still got this other stuff down here, but I want to knock out these 3 things on the list. Everybody's about numbers, and I want to get an extra sale on the oil change and stuff like that. Just do it that way, and then the client's going to come in telling you what they want to add to it right off the get. They will work down the list, and they'll do everything that the car needs.
Yep.
And how much less stressful is that for the client to be able to do it in their time when they can, and they know the order and how they should do it.
And it's less stressful for the client, but it's also less stressful if, like, people have heard me, the DVI thing and the inspection thing is a great thing, but it also is like if nobody's doing the follow-up or presenting it all and tabulating it and showing a priority, when they come in for a next oil service again, and they're not coming in remembering that there is other work that needs to be done on the car every time when it comes in for an oil change, and then I go through the whole process of doing the DVI again, presenting it to them, and they wait for the customer to say no. We have to have longer conversations with the customer as an advisor. We have to have longer conversations, slow down, advocate more for them, like I keep saying, so they have a plan of attack or a vested idea about how committed am I to this car. If I'm emotionally attached to this 10-year-old whatever, I'm going to put some money in. If I'm of the point where it's 10 years old and I haven't had a payment for 5, and maybe it's time to replace this, we do that. Because up in Canada, where I am,
where you are, yeah,
like 10-year-old cars, you wouldn't believe the amount of 10-year-old cars we get that when they come in to where I work now and we're evaluating to see if we're going to sell them at the used car lot or not, a lot of them go to auction because the rust is too much of a factor.
Yeah.
Right? So it's, trying to advocate one more level up for these customers is like, listen, I know you bought this car and it's only 5 years old, but go get it rust-proofed now, or in 2 years we're going to be talking about fuel lines, brake lines, and a fuel tank on a Ram. I had a 2017 Ram the other day. It has 35,000 kilometers, not miles. 35,000. It's not even broken, but it's got seized up calipers from sitting. The brakes are all rotten all the way around from sitting. The whole thing. And I'm like, this is a great car that Dad gave you, but here's the reality now. If we don't undercoat this next week, you might as well walk away from this car because it is going to get inherently worse.
It's just going to rust out from under you.
Yeah, and that's sad to see. It's a waste of a vehicle, right? But when we don't advocate for the customer in the sense of like, I'm invested in your plan for what this vehicle is. How do you want to see yourself in 3 years? Driving this still? Okay, that's a different plan than I don't want to see myself driving this 6 months from now. Completely different conversation, completely different. But we have to always present everything that we find.
So it's a difference between a service advisor and a service writer.
Yes.
Because what a lot of people are saying is just, get in there, get the sale, get it done. That's a service writer. You're writing an estimate and you're saying, hey, it's $2,000, here you go, right? Or you're going to be an advisor and do what you just described, look out for the best interest of the client and advise them of what they should do.
Yes.
Based on their situation.
Yeah.
Here's the analogy I always use, because we're big about service advisors and clients. And I know a lot of people will laugh and say, oh, it's just words, Sherwood. Well, words matter, right? The words we use make our brains think a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
And a customer is somebody you sell something to, right? A client is somebody that you advise. And let's think about it for a second. Lawyers
Yes.
don't have customers, they have clients. And for those of you that have ever had to use a lawyer, lawyers do not give you the answer. What they say is, okay, here's the situation, here's what we can do. And it's usually, we can go down this path, and the potential outcome is this. We can go down this path, potential outcome is that, this path, that, right? What would you like to do?
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, they know that you're the one making the decision, not them. Now, you might say, what do you think? Which one would you think is the best? What's the potential? Okay, well, isn't that what we should be doing, right? Okay, here is everything the vehicle needs, right? Here is your safety concerns. Here is your longevity concerns. Here is your maintenance, right?
Yeah.
Okay, shouldn't we be putting these packages together, presenting it all, then breaking it into packages, and then saying, what would you like to do? And then them asking questions like, well, what do you think about this? But you know what? In order to do that, you got to create a relationship.
Yes.
With your attorney has a relationship with you, kind of knows who you are, kind of knows your life, where you're at in life, right? What you're going through, and helps you make decisions based on that point in your life. Shouldn't we be doing that? Yeah, but you know what? You know why people don't do that?
Time.
Because it's all about get it done, right? It's all about speed. No, let's slow down to speed up. Let's slow down. Let's get to know people, right? Let's try to make their life easier. I know I say that a lot, but I mean, that's what we do in our shops, right? And in order to do that, I'm not saying we're going to go out and have Thanksgiving dinner,
no,
right? But you can still get to know somebody, right? You can still get to know who their kids are and what they have soccer practice, for hockey, right? All right, I got to get them over to the, okay, how many kids you have? Okay, you're going here, near here. Wouldn't I want to know that so that I can then go, okay, well, they probably need a vehicle. They're not going to need to be without this vehicle for very long. Or it might be somebody that says, I've got 4 cars, Sherwood. Right? How are you going to know they have 4 cars? Right? Are you only caring that they have 4 cars because you want to service 4 cars? Or do you care they have 4 cars because now maybe they can be without this car and we can have it for a little while, right?
And
their life's not disrupted, right?
100%.
You gotta get to a relationship.
But and the speed is the one thing, right? But I know when we talk in this industry about commission, incentivize, and all that kind of stuff, right? We talked about at lunch how some people would look at a job and you table a brake job to a customer, a 4-corner brake job could be $2,000. And somebody is sitting there and they think, oh, that's a lot of money. And while they're sitting there, maybe they hit Google on their phone or something, and all of a sudden somebody says,
"Repair Pal,
we'll do it for $1,800."
Yeah,
or we'll do it for $1,500, and all of a sudden it comes back to, why are you doing for that? Why are you charging $2,000 and the other person's doing $1,500? Our good friend just made a very good point. You have to. The next question isn't immediately, oh, okay, well, I can do it for $1,500. I just have to change this. You have to explain to them why yours is $2,000 and theirs is only $1,500. What's the warranty that they're giving? Oh, they're not giving you any warranty. What's the parts? I didn't even ask. Yeah. They're all focused on price.
We were talking to Chris, and I love what he said.
Oh man,
I love what he said. Instead of because. Gosh, I gotta be careful with this.
And Right Automotive, by the way, he's on Instagram and everything.
Yes, our good friend of the podcast, Chris Enright. Yes,
he had a great thing to say, and what he said was, "What are they?" I would ask him, "Well, what are they not doing that I'm doing?" Right? And instead of the thing I need to be careful of is mentioning something that says immediately discounting it, right? And my thing is. When I was told recently by somebody, I would just immediately discount it. It's like, well, what I would do is go to my service advisors, and I'd be like, hey, I think we failed here.
Yeah.
Because why did this person feel like they needed to call around on price? We should have already been building a relationship, knowing their situation, knowing what they were going through. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not saying that our price is always going to be acceptable to somebody, right? But, if it's not, they should at least know why we're more. And I would much rather that person come over and go, hey, I called around. I got a lower price. I know you guys got a way better warranty. I know you guys use the best parts.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're using. I know their warranty is way less. They already told me that. They really couldn't tell me what kind of parts. I just can't do this much right now. I'm probably going to have to go to them, right? Now, we've got 2 different paths we can go down now, right? Now we might say, well, listen, we want to help you out. We want to take care. We might just say, listen, sometimes we just give things away. Sometimes just like I get a feeling, like with, Arnett. Like, let's just take care of this. Annette, not Arnett. Annette. But, sometimes it's, well, I'll tell you what. Let me see what I can do. Let's try to, I'm certainly not going to say don't go to them. But let me see what I can do. Maybe I can help you out. I can't do the same job for the same price. Yep. The price is the price. And then sometimes we'll do that. But a lot of times what we'll do is, and I know people are going to, in the next 10 seconds on this podcast, we're about to get a lot of comments. We will 100% refer them to another shop that I know that will do it cheaper, that will not give all the amenities that we do, right? But I know they won't take advantage of them.
Right.
I know the people there, right? And I've known them for a long time. There's a couple of shops. And I know that the work they do will be good, and they won't take advantage of the client, right? As opposed to some places that they might go into and they got $800 quote over the phone, then they walk in there and they're walking out at $1,600, right? But now, like we talked about, the wheels are off now, and they're captured.
I have them. I've caught the fish. Yeah. Fish is in the net. I'm just deciding if I'm going to throw it back overboard or if it's going in the live well of the ice chest to go home, right? Yeah. Like, that's kind of my fishing analogy. But, and I always had a problem with discounting from the standpoint of, if I turn around and I say to you it's $1,000, and then you go, God, that's a lot. It's like, okay, well, I can do it for $800. Yeah. The real price then, to me, in my consumer brain, was really $800, and the $200 was a spiff, an upsell,
profit,
a gravy.
You're just making more money than you already are.
Like, which people think is bad words. The idea of an upsell is always a key trigger word for me, because it's like, I'm not upselling you, but you come in knowing about one thing on your car that you're here to address, and I tell you about 4 other things. It comes back to advocacy. I'm not trying to upsell you more, but I would be not doing the best service to you if I didn't make you aware of the other things.
I should have said that when we were talking about doing the full inspection, right? The reason that we're doing the full inspection is not to get a bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
I always use this analogy. If you went to the doctor, your elbow hurt.
Yeah.
And they took a x-ray of your, upper body.
Yep.
And he found a lump on your shoulder. You want to know about the lump?
Of course I'd want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If the doctor said, Jeff, I don't know. I don't know if does he have insurance? I don't know. Does he have any? I don't know, man. I feel like he's driving an old clunker I saw him pull up. I don't know if he's got any money. I'm not going to let him know about that.
Yeah.
About that lump, right? You'd never go back to that doctor again. Guess what we are, guys? Professionals. We should be held to the same standard as that doctor.
And when the doctor tells you that you have that, nobody's going to say that doctor's trying to upsell me.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? But we've always been held to a different kind of standard. You know what I mean? And that's always been the frustrating thing for me, because people have known me a long, long, long time. It took me a lot to really start to advocate for the customer and not advocate for just myself or my baymate or my technician. The other, because I mean, the industry did it to me where I was just about. I was a production number. I was a cog in a wheel. I was just I'm a revenue generator.
You were replaceable.
I'm a replaceable revenue generator for my boss.
Yeah.
And that's a tough thing to move past. But it took me a long. But I feel like I'm there. But it's that attitude that still comes back of all the comments I see on your videos or Paul's videos. Everyone's like, you don't need to do maintenance on a car. That's just ripping them off. Or I get really triggered still by the dealership comments, the dealer technician comments. They're terrible. They're this and that and the other thing. And it's like,
oh, it's either one way or the other.
Yeah.
They're the
either
best
the best
ever,
or they're the worst.
And
ever.
I keep trying to have the conversation with you. Don't know if you've never worked with what they've had to do, the kind of pressure cooker environment, the kind of where you're not paid for diag. If they're not paid, why do you expect them to even be able to diagnose your car?
Yeah.
Would you go to work? Well, I wouldn't go, but that's just the point. I paid X amount of dollars for this car. I deserve to get it fixed. You do. But the more I keep advocating and talking about how dealership technicians are actually being treated now and paid is why we're seeing more people start to back off and understand and go in and have a better experience when they're trying to get there. I'm not saying it's going to be perfect, right? We're talking about the Jeeps that they've been told. You love to trash the Pentastars, right? And I drive one. I think I love it, but I mean, it's
I don't trash anything.
No,
it
but
just
you know
is
what
the
I mean.
World we live in.
They do
just
have
present themselves.
They
to
have
me.
inherent flaws, and it's
do.
kind of not great design and all that
Yeah.
kind of jazz. Totally cool.
They
but,
suck. No, I'm
yeah,
just
but the customer, I know from my dealer experience, I had to kind of I was expected to hit a certain number, but I was also like, if I knew that I'm going to go in there and I'm going to do your oil cooler while I'm there on your Pentastar, it's probably not a bad idea to put some spark plugs in that thing and maybe some ignition coil boots or some coils, because I know that they're common, right? There's all kinds of things. Well, all of a sudden it's like, listen, I just want the car fixed. I don't want the upsell. Or I just want, or if it's under warranty and they did this and then that happened after the fact and they didn't take care of it. There are such tight restraints right now.
But
of
that's,
what
again, that's the service advisor
It's
not
back to
creating
the
relationships.
relationship.
But here's
Yep.
the thing. When we talked about this, I did a video on this because this is something I worked at a dealership for 6 months, very early in my career, right? God bless you if you can do that. I mean, that's a political nightmare. I mean, when I was there, I was low man on the totem pole. I didn't know who I worked for.
Yeah.
I didn't know if I worked for the used car guy, the new car guy, the service department, the owner would come out. I mean, but my problem with the way dealership techs get paid, and we had some comments that said some of them don't. Now, we all know, well, I know, that there are some dealership techs that are loved in the dealership, and then there's some dealership techs that are there to just get as much work done as they possibly can, right?
Yeah.
So, and they're treated differently.
Yeah.
But my biggest beef with the way dealership techs get paid is warranty.
Yeah.
I think it is the and I'm not saying this in a negative way towards a dealership tech. It is just a fact of the hierarchy of a manufacturer. The dealership tech is a low man on the totem pole. I get it. There's GSs and there's I get porters. I'm talking about the hierarchy of this repair process,
Yep.
right? The tech is the low man on the totem pole. The manufacturer is the high, right? the low man on the totem pole is subsidizing the high at half labor.
Yeah.
And then, okay, techs forever would just get really fast at doing it, right? And so they were able to turn a lot of work because it's a numbers game. They were doing, like you talked about, doing the same rack and pinion over and over and over. So of course you're going to get quicker at it.
Yeah.
And then they brought in the time clock. Okay, well, you're going to clock in and out of it. Well, you were physically clocking in and out of it on a piece of paper, right?
Yeah.
Back in the day, and you used to stick it on the paper, right? Well, of course, techs, none of us are stupid, right? So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to clock into that one, get it done, not clock out, go clock into car B.
Yes.
Do it halfway through car B. Oh, let me go back over and clock out of car, A. Okay, well, now everything's digital. They can't do it anymore. So you can't game the system, quote unquote, right?
Right.
So what do the manufacturers do? Oh, they're getting really fast at it. They start lowering the time down.
Yeah.
It's like, so you set a time of just bingo numbers, 3 hours to replace something. I'm talking about full boat, right? Customer pay. You're going to pay the tech an hour and a half. Tech gets really good, really fast, does dozens of them. He can do it in 0.75. You're going to lower it down to 0.75.
Yeah.
Who wants to play that game? I mean, that of all, and I haven't lived in that world. I was there 6 months. I was an oil change guy, right?
Yeah.
But I could see the other guys. I could see the hierarchy, the way it worked. We had one guy that was the golden child of that dealership. I mean, he turned 70 hours a week, right?
Mm-hmm.
He has a guy that I think taught me a lot because he was one that told me, he's like, Sherwood, if you don't have a 3-hour water pump, do a 0.3 oil change, do 10 of them. Just turn, So this was way back now,
Yeah.
right? And then we had other guys that only wanted to do engines, right? And then they were always behind the 8 ball. They never got paid.
Yeah.
They were always asking for next week's pay, right?
Yeah.
Because they never finished the job. But the reality was that guy, the one they really liked, he was always going to make good money.
Yep.
Because he did do a lot of good work and took care of them too. But the other ones, they just kind of got what they got.
Yeah.
And then you throw in on top of that the warranty thing. It's like, man, I just...
And I remind people all the time when they get so frustrated and they just take any automotive channel, video, whatever, to spout off, I try to be kindly, remind them that it's not always that, like, they can't fix your car or don't want to fix your car. It's that if they can't get paid under warranty to try and fix your car, they're not going to invest the time to do it. And that's not just on the technician, that he may very well want to fix your car. But even if he says, I'm willing to, spend some time that I'm not going to pay for because I just got to know. Well, there's dealerships out there that just come to him and say, John, put that car outside. I've got 10 more that I need looked at. Mm-hmm. Right? And that's not just a dealership thing. That happens in our industry on the aftermarket side all day long. I'm not charging for diag. So, go to Identifix, grab the first bullet. That's what I'm putting into the car. I've got 9 more waiting outside. Get them done. Well, this is not, again, when we talk about, technicians are this. Technicians are part of a team that sometimes we're not using our team members properly in this industry. And unfortunately, the customer suffers because of it.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's when you get on there and you say, mechanics suck because of this, that's where it tears up my heart, because I know I was put here for this job. I know I was. It found me in high school, and it hasn't let go of me. But it's been always about, like, I'm just trying to understand how to do it better and how to make it easier for the next person that comes in behind me, because I know what I had to go through, and I don't want anyone else to go through that as well. Yeah. So that's just a situation of, it's like, I'm not the sharpest guy in the world. I have a process that I can get through the repair. I can diagnose some cars, but I shouldn't be out there like Sherwood teaching people lab scope stuff and all that kind of stuff. I fix cars, but sure, I'm not, like, I go down more rabbit holes than anybody should. There's no, and that doesn't make,
down rabbit holes.
Yeah, it doesn't make me a bad spokesperson, but it makes me somebody that's like, I can show you that as much as you think I wasted some time, the layman out there can't even begin to understand why I would pick that way. So I feel like it's don't disrespect me, and I'll not disrespect you.
I will tell you this about a lot of content online. We show a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
We show a lot of mistakes. I make a lot of mistakes. I am not perfect. Mm-hmm. I feel like it's important to show those mistakes, because unfortunately, a lot of technicians watch guys that are incredibly smart online, and they go through this process, and they just get to these massively hard problems, right? And then they try to get in on a day-to-day basis, try to fix a car, and they just feel like you just said, I just go down so many rabbit holes. Well, guess what? So does a lot of other people. So does everybody else.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of, can you recover quickly and then get to the right problem? It's very rare it's actually very common to just get to the problem, right? I mean, most problems that we deal with are not, you know, I always talk about case study classes. I love case study classes.
Yes.
The problem with case study classes, those are the crazy hard problems, right? And then the techs go to case study classes, and then they go back to the shop and they think every car is a case study. It's like, no, I mean, there's a lot of instructors that will pay good money for a good documented case study, right? Because they don't see them a lot, right? So, no, not every car is a case study. But not every single person that you see getting to a problem very quickly actually got to that problem very quickly. They want to show you how they got to it, right? Because quite honestly, some videos, if you showed everything, would be hours long.
Look at your Nissan hood latch.
Oh, that was luck. That's pure luck. I've had somebody already mention that to me. Oh, man, that was a good find. Oh, no. That was luck. That car would have gone to the junkyard. I would hold my ground on anybody. Nobody would have fixed that car by diagnosing it. We went down a million rabbit holes on that one. It was pure luck that thing was just sitting there when I was going to put it back together. And thanks to Adam Robertson for just backing me up and saying, hey, go down the path of it not starting, not the path of it not turning off. And then I had to put it back together to do that and start over, right? And then the hood latch was there, and then bam, right? But those are that's a one car in my lifetime. That's literally a one car in my lifetime. The other one was an Amazon part 2, and it was the number 2 hardest car, right? Amazon part, wrong. You know, those are difficult ones.
But there's also, I mean, there's vehicles that we do videos on they're difficult, right? They take time, and you know, kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier, when I got into the service advisor role, you know, I said I want to try to change the way that this industry is looked at, and I find it to be such a blessing that we're able to do it on this bigger level. At the, you know, when that started, it was just, I'm going to do this on a local level. And, you know, I never really, we were screwing around one day, and then we started doing videos, and never thought it would ever get to what it is today.
Yeah.
But it's really cool to be able to look back at that and say, wow, I'm being given that opportunity now to really, you know, change the way the industry is looked at. You talk about, you know, more difficult diags. It's not just important for a newer technician that's coming into the industry, because of course we don't want them to just get demoralized because they think that they're struggling and everybody else is doing it perfect on YouTube, but also for the everyday person, because they need to see the struggle. They need to see what's involved in diagnosing these cars, because, you know, I'll tell you, it's crazy. We get people that come in and they don't care about how much it is. They do not care. They're not questioning diagnostics. They're not questioning any of it. We have, when people come in and they've been throwing parts at it, and it starts at what's called a level 2, typically.
Right.
And that can be anywhere from $450 to $650 to start with diagnosing the vehicle. And they don't hesitate. Everybody's scared to charge for diagnostics. If we can show people what's involved and bring the value to the everyday person that's bringing their vehicle into the shop, then they'll respect us more for what we're doing. They don't question the doctor and how much they're going to do.
Nope.
Just going back to that again. They need to see what we're doing. They need to be able, there needs to be transparency. And that's what we're trying to, you know, to bring in here.
Document everything. And Scott Nichols, I was telling you about him that has the 880i. He's got this great idea for how to document everything in a very concise way. He's just trying to work through the intricacies of making us be able to get it there, and because it's concise once it's done, he just has got to work through some bugs on that software, right? And the building of it. But once he's got that, that's going to be really good, because then we're going to be able to just literally, you screenshot and it's like boom, it's up into your spot where you need it on a cloud, and then you just go grab, and it will literally grab the VIN number, put everything together in one spot, and then you can put it on a ticket.
The VIN, Dad.
Right?
The VIN.
What did I say?
There was a comment earlier, and you said VIN number in a video.
Well, it is vehicle identification number.
It's a VIN number.
Okay, so it's a vehicle identification
People pick
number.
about every little stupid thing. Like, it just drives me crazy. You know what I mean? I remember when the guys used to say it's got a 3.8. What motor's not 3.8? Somebody used to go, it's an engine. It's not a motor.
It's motor oil.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You don't buy engine oil. You buy motor oil.
He continues
now
to
somebody will say, no, you can buy engine oil.
He calls Rams
I call
Dodges
Dodge
too.
Ram.
I still do.
I can't
Don't do that
help it.
online.
I still.
Oh, they kill me for
Oh,
that.
I
They said,
don't-
"Oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about." They haven't made a Dodge hasn't made a Ram in 15 years. Like, do you
Yeah.
know how old I am, man?
Yeah.
Yeah, he said you
I can remember.
Yourself, yeah.
I'm old enough to remember the first when they brought the Ram back, and it was on a TV show and the whole thing. Like I can remember because when we were in the '80s, up where I was, you never saw a Dodge pickup older than, like newer than '85 until '95. There was like a 10-year window where you never saw a Dodge pickup. Your
Really?
dad either drove a Ford or a Chevy because like Dodges started to not really sell very well, and then when that first gen Ram came out, it completely changed the landscape, the way it looked. And then when the Hemi came out, that changed everything. That put everything on its ear. They
I
had
remember
so
when
much,
they had the truck with the actual Ram
Yeah.
on the hood,
Yeah.
the hood ornament.
Yeah.
A buddy of
Long
mine had
time
that.
ago.
But yeah.
But so let's go back to your.
I remember Eagle, by the way. Do you remember Eagle?
Yes, I did. So one of the first guys when I walked into Capital Dodge way back when, I had a Rolly Graton, a gentleman from Quebec, was my shop foreman service manager at night, and Rolly still drove an AMC Eagle every day. And Rolly had been, when there was AMC dealers and Eagle dealers in Ottawa, he was their guy. He was one of the fastest, best techs they'd ever seen. And I can remember I didn't appreciate him, and I didn't work long enough with him before I moved, or he retired. But he used to always, somebody would come in and they'd say, this car's not, or the tech would go to him at night and say, the car's just not running right. I don't know what's wrong with it. And Rolly would say, just put an EGR valve on it. And he would
He
put
was
the EGR,
he was Identifix.
and he, exactly 100%. And they'd put the EGR valve on, which cost $14, back then, and it would fix the car. And and Rolly didn't then go, this is why. It was just good. We got the car fixed because we just tuned it up, and it's still stalling and misfiring, doing the exact same thing. Let's just I was very fortunate to have a couple of really key mentors that didn't always share with me the why, but the how to survive thing, which was key as well. And somebody was just talking to me the other day about, we need to teach a course on how to get technicians to survive flat rate and how to survive the dealer network. And I said, I'm not sure if we can ever write a book or have a course on that. Would have been a good idea. I want to go back to the kind of the beginning for you guys, because we joked about it at lunch. Some of the earliest videos I think that really kicked off and people remembered for you guys was the Icon wrench thing and the snap. Oh my God, Sherwood's got a snap-on belt, and it was, the joke was like, he's got 30 more years and he'll have paid off
many more
his
payments
belt.
on that bad boy?
And you're a snap-on dealer, which was obviously you have a
guy.
great guy, great relationship with him, and everything else. But everybody was just, the fanboys came out in droves about, I've been buying snap-on tools for 20 years and there's nothing that even competes. You've been buying Snap-on tools for 30-some years.
I bought my first Snap-on tools from my current dealer's
Father.
dad, from
Yeah.
his stepdad,
Yeah.
right? Norman. And I don't even think that Norman was supposed to do it. I mean, I was a teenager, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that had to be 84, something, 85. So, yeah. I've been buying them a long time, too.
Mm-hmm.
And we spoke about this. Like, when I came in this business, you had the option of Snap-on. You had Mac, and Mac was really Mac back then.
Yep.
But they weren't everywhere, right? You had Snap-on, Mac, and you had Craftsman.
Yeah.
And there was a big difference between Snap-on and everybody else.
Yeah.
They had the flank drive. I mean, the warranty, the quality. The warranty was Craftsman. You could go take it and do it. But for us, where I lived, that was an hour drive one way.
Yep.
So now we have so many other options. So let's think about this. We're short on techs, right? I don't care what anybody says. We're short on technicians. We're short on blue collar. Period. Right?
Yes.
And I don't see where that's going to get any better anytime soon, but maybe it will. But we need to entice people to come into the business. All right? We don't need them to walk on a tool truck and spend $700 on a set of wrenches. We can provide them with a nice tool set. We talked about it for like $1,100. The shop owner can do that, right?
Yeah.
Think about this from a shop owner standpoint. I'd rather spend $1,100, get us a nice set of tools in front of it. When I say nice, it'll do the job we're asking them to do. What are we asking them to do? Oil services. Maybe we graduate them
tires
into some
off. Yep.
tires. We graduate them to some brakes. Maybe they start doing some tire, doing some alignments. We gradually bring them up, right? But the whole time that we're doing that, if we're asking them to buy their own tools, they're in debt from day one.
Mm-hmm.
Who wants that? And honestly, the tool dealers should like this too, because I'm wondering where the most of their delinquent payments come from. I'm sure it's from guys that got in the business, bought a few, a couple things from them, had a few $100 or whatever, right? $500-600, right? And then said, I don't like doing this, and left. They're never seeing them again. They're not in the business.
My own Snap-on wrench set is a repo set.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that was and we talked about it before lunch. When I did buy that set, I bought it for $400. That's going back 8 years now.
Yeah.
And it was still listing at $600 brand new, so I paid $400. Like we talk about, it's a $700 set of wrenches.
Yeah.
Right. Now I'm old enough to remember that all the first wrenches I had ever had, I could buy them Canadian, was Mastercraft out of Canadian Tire. You guys, if your trips up to Canadian Tire,
we do know Canadian Tire.
So you used to be able to buy them. They were a chrome 12-point, combination wrench.
Sure.
From 8 mil up to 19, you used to be able to buy them for $19.99 a set, and they were lifetime warranty.
Yeah.
And I worked with guys, talking about guys in tools in a bucket. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
When the first thing that I ever walked into that I got really serious about working in was a truck shop, and we used to do roadside service. And my owner, my boss, would go out and he would take that $19.99 set of wrenches in the rack right out, and he would put it in his bucket, and he would go fix just about anything on the side of the road with that wrench set and a hammer and some vice grips, slip joint pliers,
make it
you
happen.
name it, screwdriver. He could fix it all. Fantastic. I used those wrenches until 2014. And they were fine because, again, I wasn't putting the open end on a fastener and trying to break the fastener loose.
That's
You
the
know what I
thing
mean?
is,
It was. That's what I loved about that whole thing. It was showing you. Well, here's a test of who in their right mind is going to risk their knuckles to put it between it and a whatever and push on the open end to try and break the fastener loose. That's just not what we do every day.
Well, the test that we did originally on that was Snap-on's test.
Yes.
Right? And it's the nylon nut that I have seen forever.
Yeah.
And, it was to show the flank drive was better than a regular wrench, which it is.
Yeah.
But I guess you're not allowed to use that when it's a flank drive against a flank drive. That's now, I guess, technically been, well, it's not been stolen because the patent's is up, right?
Yeah.
But when that thing slipped, I was like, because I did not.
You didn't expect it to do that.
I was taken aback by that. I was like, this is crazy. I mean, we literally did it several times, and it kept doing the same thing. But then it became this. I joked about it on one of the videos, like I must keep testing until Snap-on wins, right?
Yeah.
Because we were getting called out by so many people doing the test wrong, and I mean, I don't know how else to turn a wrench other than you put it on a nut or a bolt and you turn it. I mean, there's different type of wrenches, obviously, but I'm talking about a combination wrench.
Right.
And yes, we are friends with Mr. Subaru. So
Of course, yes, we absolutely are. We're not talking about him at all.
I think he arrives tomorrow.
That guy, I'm going to tell you right now, when it comes to tools, that dude is smart.
Mm-hmm.
He knows who makes what, when, where, how, what factory. I mean, I'm surprised he doesn't know the person on the assembly line putting it together.
He
might actually know that person. He might have that. Maybe where his in is, right? But he is smart. No, I don't have any issue with him whatsoever. I'm talking about all these other people that are like, they just kept saying Snap-on, Snap-on. Okay, well, eventually the Snap-on did win, right? But like you said, I had to push it to the absolute limit where I would never, ever be doing that in a regular working job position, right? Mm-hmm. We pushed it to the point where it finally, the icon gave and the Snap-on didn't, but there would nobody in their right mind would use it in that way.
It's not real world.
It's not real world.
Yeah.
And my whole point was, here's at that point on sale, normally a $130 set of wrenches on sale for $70 against a $700 set of wrenches, right? My whole point was, how far do we have to push it to get it to fail, right? Can they not have this as a viable set for somebody coming into this business and use it, right? And get going. And then if they want to buy the Snap-on set later when they make money, go for it.
Like
right?
I did, yeah.
But we have options. And now there's Tecton.
Yes.
There's what's the other one?
Milwaukee's
Vim, got stuff. Vim's got stuff.
Gear Wrench.
Gear Wrench has got, I love their new ratchet is my favorite.
Yeah.
The little, I got the swivel head have you seen the head on that ratchet, how small it is?
I know.
I love that ratchet.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's funny because when we went to SEMA, there was all these different, tool companies there, and he didn't know any of them. People are like, how do you not know about this? Because this dude literally only went on the Snap-on truck. Like, he didn't know any of this stuff because that's what he's been doing, to the point where I had to go out there and grab him out of the truck all the time because I told him, you need to stop spending money.
Yeah.
And
He's like my wife.
The Snap-on Harbor Freight thing was the best thing to ever happen to me.
So how did that relationship kind of start? Did they reach out to you, Sherwood, or did you guys reach out to them?
For Harbor Freight?
Yes.
No, I don't even know how we went and got that wrench. Sherwood just said, like, hey, let's try to do this.
But when we've seen all the other tools show up and all that kind of stuff, like I'm not trying to ask to disclose what they they gifted you, but like,
oh no,
obviously there's obviously you rippled it big enough that they figured out who Sherwood and the professor were.
I will tell you, Harbor Freight is a very straightforward company. They don't sponsor anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, and we don't do that anyway. We don't take money from people to do stuff. The stuff you see on our channel is the stuff that I use, or it's stuff that maybe somebody sent me and I thought, well, maybe other people will use it and we'll try it out. Right? So Harbor Freight does not pay anybody anything, but they will happily send you tools.
Right.
So they've sent us, they sent me a whole Icon box, for crying out loud.
Yeah.
Right. And a bunch of stuff. And they just, here's what they tell you. Use it. You put it in a video, great. If you don't put it in a video, okay. If it's good, great. If it's not good, please let us know.
Yes.
And so, because we want to make changes.
Yeah.
Right. And they will do that. So I understand where people say they steal stuff and all this stuff. But
well, let's be real about some of the scan tool. That's some of everybody's favorite scan tool is re-engineered.
Back in the day, it was like factory.
Yeah. You can remember the old launches, whether it was a Diag Book or X431 or something like that. 431. Yeah. They were incredible. What they were. The
Alltails.
Yes.
The doggone Alltails, you could program keys on anything back in the day, right? It was just. I don't want to use words, but you understand. But everybody loves them.
Yeah.
So.
The stealing thing is like, whereas, and the only scan tool I've ever owned is a Snap-on. I have an old Brick. I have the first gen Vantage. I have.
Got a Brick, huh?
I have a Solus.
Okay.
I have a Solus, and now I have a Zeus. I don't have a Zeus Plus because that's all I ever bought. Because before there was no other players, right? And
there was OTC,
which
when the Brick was out, the OTC was actually, I think, a better tool.
So I had a Mac Taskmaster, or not Taskmaster, Mac Mentor, I think is what
that was. I think that was later.
Okay,
I'm talking about when the Brick.
Yes.
There was this OTC one, but it was not user friendly.
Right.
Where the Brick was user. That's Snap-on's kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
They just made it very easy for people to use, right? Yeah, and then you had the Genesis.
So that's the Genesis, and it was a wheel chock. It was
garbage,
trash.
Yeah.
But what Snap-on has always been their defense is, listen, we don't steal what we put in the tool. We have to pay for it, right? Which people are always like, that's good. Now I think if anybody from Snap-on is listening, the price has gone too far, and the industry has not to where it's like, I have my Zeus and I regret buying it now. I bought it in the case of where I worked. They weren't going to upgrade the scan tool, but they were going to hand me a 21, a 22 to look at, and we had a Solus that had been phased out by 15 that wasn't doing me any good on the transits that were in my fleet. So I had to do something. I either had to get my butt chewed about not being able to fix every day by the boss, or I went and bought a used Zeus, and that's what I did. That's what I'd always done. No big deal. I'm not regretting it. But I'm looking at the price of this going now. The depreciation on buying this tool used is crazy. The fact that Snap-on has built on, you need a $20,000 scan tool and we're going to make it obsolete in 5 years, I'm not good with that anymore.
I'll tell you that, again, much like the other Snap-on stuff, I bought the new scanner, whatever it was, every time it came out.
Yeah.
Modus, whatever, kept it updated all along. Yeah. Zeus came out, kept it updated all along. Zeus Plus came out, and then just by, being blessed by everything that's happened on our social media, a lot of companies want to send us stuff, right? Mm-hmm. And some of it you never see because
it's
not worth showing, right? But some of it, like Top On, I'd be honest, I bought my first Top On. I was at a Mike Christopherson. Do you know Mike? He does a lot of EEPROM work and stuff.
I've heard the name, but if you showed me a picture, I wouldn't be able to pick him out.
He's here this week.
Yeah. Oh, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, super nice guy. Very smart with like EEPROM, cloning and stuff like that. And so I was at one of his things I did it twice. I did it once at Jarhead Diagnostics.
Yeah,
he had it in North
Brandon
Carolina.
Dills, yeah.
And then I did it once in Atlanta I don't remember, we were in a hotel. And in the Atlanta one, they had the Top Don stuff. And I'm like, well, you know what? I'm getting into this. Let's try it, right? So I bought a few things. Now I have the one you see in the videos a lot is the Phoenix Max.
Yeah.
I love that. And I've been a Snap-on guy my whole life with scanners, right?
Yep.
This thing it works. Now, I'm going to footnote this. Every scan tool has its holes. And you got to know again, just like when we're testing something, what do I expect to happen? You can push a button. This is where Snap-on is, I would say, somewhat stronger. Usually if you push the button on the Snap-on, it says it's going to do something. It generally is going to do it.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't just throw it in there and it's just there for show, right? That's not always the case. There are times when it doesn't do it, right? And these are the ones that'll send you down a rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing with all the other ones. I don't care who it is. Top Don, Alltel, what was the other one? You just named Launch, which is most of them are all using the same back end anyway, right? Yes. When you push that button on some of them, it may not be actually doing the thing that you think it's doing, and you better understand. Okay, do I have another way of checking that? So if your only option is an aftermarket scan tool, I would highly recommend having at least two and having two different back end brands, right? But then the factory one, that's what. Sometimes you just got to have that, and so that when you hit the button, that's more than likely going to be doing it.
And then I know, to shout out a name, some of us make this over more complicated than it needs to be, because like you, as somebody that's followed Bernie forever.
Oh yeah.
Look at what Bernie goes out and fixes with generic data, and an absolutely amazing refined process.
You need to talk to people about the eScan, Dad. Because the thing with that class that Chris was telling us about.
Yeah. One of my guys was in a class, and it's Brandon's Steckler's class, and he brought up the eScan stuff, and like my two guys, when he said who's got the eScan, like two guys. That is a powerful.
Yes.
I call it the generic scan tool on steroids. Yeah. Right. It is a powerful tool, but Bernie is out there fixing cars, and it's very rare that you see a factory tool in his hands. Yeah. Right. It's very rare you see anything other than the eScan. Of course, it's his product, so he wants to show it, right? Yeah. And he is one of the things that he's always told me is, I don't care what the badge is on the front of the car. I just want to fix the car.
Right.
Right. And he does it in a very logical manner. And now Bernie is a different, you get to people like Bernie, John Thornton, Scott Manna. Yeah. We're Keith, right? We're at a little different level, right? They're super smart, right? But you can use the things that they put out, right? And you can learn from what they're doing. And now, like Bernie will tell you how a scope works, right? All the intricacies of the internals of it, right? How this works. And it's like the first time I took a scope class, I'm like, my brain melted in the first hour. We hadn't even touched the scope yet as far as on a car. And, it's we don't necessarily have to be at that level, but it's okay to watch that. It's okay to learn that, because then we can start thinking, how do they think, right? They think like engineers. Yeah. All four of them think like engineers. Yep. And there's I'm sure I'm missing people out there, right? But plenty of other ones, right? Yeah. But if we can think like them, if we can at least see, okay, well, that's their thought process. Maybe we don't have the in depth of that. It still helps us fix cars, right? And at the end of the day, what I'm trying to do is fix cars. Yeah. I'm trying to teach people, how can we fix this car as quickly and efficiently as possible? I don't care how you get paid, right? Your pay, we can talk about that till we're blue in the face. You still need to fix the car, right? We still don't want to spend 6 hours on something that we can do in 2. Yeah. So how can we do that? How do we make that happen? It's by following a logical diagnostic path. Does not mean that you're always going to come to the answer on that straight and narrow path. You're going to be going off on forks in the road. Sometimes you got to back up. Just know when you got to back up. And you just get to the answer.
Now, sitting at lunch, I asked you because you alluded to a couple times you were looking to hire a tech, and we talked about the shortage, and you guys have got 2 new ones coming on, which is awesome. But Sherwood and you both, like, how do we fix this shortage that's in the industry? Because, like, do you guys see a bigger obstacle for the industry right now than the shortage? Like, information you can always going to be able to access, maybe, but do you see a bigger obstacle to the industry than the fact that nobody is seeming to come in and last?
I think parts.
Parts. Okay.
I think parts, and I think the shortage of techs. I think those two are really, really close to each other.
How do we fix the shortage? It's a tough one, eh?
It is. When I was in high school, we had shop.
Yeah.
I didn't take shop personally.
No.
But we had shop. That's one. We also need to somehow get people to understand. When I was in school, it was if you're not smart, you do shop.
Right.
Right?
Yep.
And it still has that stigma, right? And guess what? It ain't that anymore.
No.
Right? We need smart people in this business. And we need a combination smart. We need hands-on smart. Can you mechanically, have you got that aptitude?
Like your grandson.
Yes. And then we need brain smart. Can you read and comprehend what you're reading? Because what do we do most of the time? What we're doing is description and operation.
Yeah.
How does something actually function? By reading, right? And we tend to be, as techs, what I found is visual learners, right? That's why YouTube is so good. That's why, because that's why scopes are so good. They're pictures. And we need people, though, that can read something, comprehend it, put it into use.
I think what you're saying is we need to get them to know that that's what they're doing, right? Like, we need to get them to know that it's not just all greasy hands and, getting down and dirty, although that's part of it, but that the diagnostic side of it is an opportunity for people, and it's going to get more and more complex. So we need people that are interested in computers and things like that would maybe go into that industry, but they can say, well, maybe I'd go automotive because it's basically working on computers, all the time.
Well, look at your grandson, Micah, and your son, right, who has taken apart an RC car at 8 years old.
Seven,
excuse me. Like, I alluded to Elon, but I mean, that's an EV. To him, that's going to be what he's going to be working on by the time, a lot of what he gets there is going to be a lot more of that kind of technology. And how awesome is that already at that age, he is like understanding it, experimenting with it.
It's a rarity, though. It's a rarity because we do a thing, it's called Junior Technician Night.
I've seen that night, yeah.
So that happens once a year on the school that's out for Christmas break. And we bring in, I started with 30-something kids. I don't know how many we had last year. It's getting up there close to 100.
Yeah.
And these kids, they love it. They love taking stuff apart. They love getting their hands dirty.
Yeah.
Right? I think that a lot of kids have it naturally. I think that it is taught out of them. Mm-hmm. Right? It said, you need to go to college. You need to, it's literally, they love it. And then it's like, oh, you don't want to do that. That's, we need to break that,
And I think that we're transitioning a little bit with that too, so I think what you said about getting it into the school and getting these kids to be, to be interested in it at that age. I think even you could even go lower than high school, get into middle school, as well.
Yeah.
And also, one thing we've talked about is something we could control is doing like a homeschool thing too. My kids are homeschooled.
Okay.
So, you could bring homeschool kids into the shop, have a shop day with them, get them interested. A lot of parents that are homeschooling their children see a high value in trades. And so that could bring more of those kids into it. So I can't do anything with the school system. I don't really have a say in that. Yeah. But what we could do is we could try to find a place where we may have an advantage. We may have parents that are more interested in their kids going into that field, and we could try to bring some of those kids in.
My good friend Lucas homeschooled. You know what I mean? And he had a phenomenal technician. So he missed out on shop class in high school, and he did fine.
Yeah.
You know
and
what
that's
I mean?
then Micah comes there. Now he's coming on Wednesdays. That's what he's doing. He's coming on Wednesday, and he's taking a motor apart now. We got an engine out there. He's taking it apart. If he puts that back together, I don't know what's going to happen.
It's 3.6, by the way. We know he needs to know how to take that apart.
He's got to learn how to take that one apart. What if he fixes it? What if he anyway? So
I'm sure he can. I mean, there's all kinds of information out there now. if he can buy a camshaft for it, because they're like,
I'm wondering if he can redesign it somehow. It's like, Papa, I think this would be better if we do this. And then he goes to Chrysler and say, hey, man, we got a fix for
he'll be
you.
a millionaire by the time he's 18 because
Yeah.
he'll come up with the fix.
We're
and-
all done.
Honestly, if we didn't have so much time involved in doing the channel, like I haven't even talked to you about this, but I thought like, man, it would be so cool to do like a kids automotive channel. You know, like I wish we had the
that'd
time
be-
to do that, but like they need that. We need to get the kids interested, not when they're teenagers, but when they're 7, 8, 9 years old. And if somebody wants to take that challenge on, then go ahead.
And I was just thinking, we're here we are sitting there talking, right? How do we fix it? And so you got my brain going. It's like, okay, you know, I don't know how many homeschool kids. It's getting to be more and more, but there's
Sure,
not
it is.
$5 million
tons,
in
right?
the U.S. now.
So, but there's summer.
Yep.
Now, how hard would it be for shops to say, hey, we're going to do a summer camp, right?
Good thought.
I mean, there's what is it, NASA? What
Yeah, they do that.
camp.
Astronaut camp.
all kind of camps for stuff, right? Why can't we do an automotive camp? Come on in. Let's you know. I know I'm going to hear a million. Oh, insurance and
Yeah.
you know what?
They've said that to us with the junior tech.
They sure have.
Well,
and
and like as I've seen it where I've had a former employer and they bring in what we call co-op students, which is like seniors in high schools or, you know, for me it was grade 11, grade 12. And they would start to bring them in. They'd put them in a shop because they showed maybe some interest when they were in high school.
Yeah.
Taking shop class. They had a little bit of natural. Get him in a shop. Sometimes they can fast track them right through the industry, do what we have in Canada, the apprenticeship that gets them some hours according to that, accrued towards that. But then some places the employers drop the ball where it's like they have them and it's just here, take out the trash.
yeah, go
You
wash
know?
the
But
clean
they might
the floor.
learn.
and-
They might do a couple oil changes by the time they're done, but they never, and a couple of tires, but they never really got exposed to
And they
the
don't wanna do
really
it.
cool stuff.
Yeah.
Which is like I would grab one and go, "Here's a scan tool. Watch when I unplug this. Watch what happens to the. Oh, look, the car doesn't start with it unplugged. What do you think's actually going on there?" And you see the gears start to turn, and they're like, "That's the really cool stuff that I want to do." Right.
And that's the thing is like as they get older, so like the younger kids, the little kids, when we're doing the junior tech night, love taking stuff apart.
Sure.
Guess what they don't love?
putting it back together.
They don't love the scope.
Okay, no.
They couldn't care less. I'd had the whole scope going up. At 1 year, I tried to figure out if I could make something blow up. I tried to figure out if I could make a spark plug, ignite
Yeah.
and without killing somebody. Right? I just couldn't make it happen. We were a lot of the stuff that we do is very just like the video
on the fly.
It's on the fly, right? So we're not like super planned out. But the younger they are, they want to work with their hands. They want to figure stuff out. They like getting dirty, right? Then if we could do like a camp or something, we're going to do this. The summer camp,
I love
right?
it.
And they start getting, okay, we bring the little kids in. We have them mechanical stuff. We bring a little bit older kids in. We show them some scan tools. We show them some bidirectional controls, I mean, for us, like clicking a button and turning the fan on, nothing.
Yeah.
To them, it's like, oh my gosh, what? We can make the car do stuff?
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
So, and then we could gradually move them up. I think that's something we could definitely do. We've got to get, listen, the average age, I think the last time I checked, the average age of the automotive tech, and you might correct me on this, I think was in his 50s. It's the average age.
That's pretty old.
That's average.
Yeah.
Thanks, brother.
So I'll be 50 next month, and the gentleman that works in the shop with me is 60.
I'm 57. So, yeah. If the average age is something over 50, think about that. That's average.
Yeah.
That means you got guys in their 70s and 80s. Where's the young ones?
That's
Because it can't be that many 70s and 80s, I mean, everybody's bunched in the middle right there,
Yeah.
40 to 50. And that's kind of what we see.
And we shouldn't be an industry that people look at as I'm going to need to work till I'm 70 or 80 and just work till I die, basically.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
That's sad.
But that's a whole nother rabbit trail. But
Yeah.
that's another thing. They should want to come into this industry knowing that they would be able to, have a good retirement and all the different things that go with
And
that.
that's like we can do a part 2 on that and maybe have David Roman in where he talks about like how the technicians actually have to manage money better because they didn't go out like, you're just pulling your dad off the Snap-on truck, every week saying quit spending in their money. Like I could appreciate that because it's like that's what you made your living with. But like I can see both sides.
Well, a lot of times, too, techs,
There's only so many lights that you need, though.
do like lights.
But they do stick to cars.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Yes,
you
they
forget
do,
to
they
get
do.
them back.
I do have a lot of lights, but a lot of times also techs come in and they do start making a lot of money. It is an industry that you can come in and start making some really good money really quick, right?
Yeah.
and then they buy toys.
Yeah.
And shop owners do the same thing. And there's always a race car involved, right? So we can go down a whole another deal of, and I'm not saying I'm the best. I mean, I don't have toys. I like golf. That's my toy. But
maybe we'll do a part 2 on that in SEMA.
I like that.
I'll be at SEMA, so that would be definily.
We'll see how this one goes and see how the people like it. They might say, "Charlie, I got to shut up."
I have a feeling this is going to go over really well. I'm going to wrap it up for you guys, but what's the next? Kind of give me like a 1-year goal and a 5-year goal for you guys.
For a social media part of it?
Any part of this, just the business and like Sherwood. Do you have a day on when you kind of want to be able to step away and be on the golf course more?
I was well on my way to doing that, and then this guy walked up with a camera one day and said, "Hey, Dad, what are you doing?" And now all of a sudden, I've got another job. I'm.
Wow.
I do spend a lot of time on the golf course. I will say that. I mean, we do work hard, and we do, but my time is pretty good.
We have a lot of ideas, a lot of things. We want to do training more.
Our big one that we thought was going to be easier than what it is, and we are diligently making progress, I would say, kind of slowly, is a training website. Not a normal training website. I'm talking about how do you rack a car?
Right.
How do you remove a tire? How do you install a tire? How do you mount and balance a tire? How do you patch a tire? How do you do an oil service? Yeah. Right? From that all the way up, and my grandiose plan is to show every scope that I can get my hands on. How do you do a relative compression test?
Yep.
How do you do, how do you check injectors, blah, blah, with every different kind of scope. And
these are the things we're trying to work through.
So that somebody can then go, oh, I've got an Autel scope, or I've got an E-scope, or I've got a Pico, or, and I'm actually going to see somebody today that is going to, or I'm supposed to begin today. I don't know. He hasn't texted me. Justin, do you know Justin Morgan?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Justin is, he's going to sit with me and go over some, I got a Pico coming that's mine. Matt Fanzo sent me an 8-channel.
Yes.
And so I've been playing with his for a while, and now I've got one ordered. But Justin's going to sit down with me. But yeah, again, I'm not. Yeah, I love Bernie. Bernie's a great guy, right? I want his business to prosper. But if there's something out there that can do something that gives techs options, I want to do that too. I want to show everything that we possibly can. So our goal is to put a website together.
It's kind of
that's been a big thing.
The whole thing with it is to be able to. Really, the goal is for a shop owner to have this site so that every aspect of their shop, right, they can basically bring somebody in and say, hey, here you go, start with this part right here, right, whether it's a lube tech or whatever it is, start with, racking up the car and everything like that. And then more experienced tech, hey, here you go, we're getting into some electrical stuff like that. But with what we've got, between the both of us is we can also get into the advisors because we've got the advisor class and we've got also the experience on the business side of things. Yes. And so we want it to be kind of an all-encompassing thing that a shop owner can use. We love to coach as well, but we also, there's only so much time with two of us here. So,
and you know what you don't realize, I found this out last week. I was at another conference for a huge company. They have that. They have a training site.
Yeah.
That how you rack a car up. We already had this in the works, right?
Yeah.
And I went to that, and I just great company, but I can't name the name, but yeah, they have this whole thing set up. It helps there when they bring a shop in, right? When they acquire a shop, or hey, you can use this to train your techs. We need to have that in the independent world.
100%.
Right?
And you guys are going to be, you've got a leg up on getting the exposure out there. Right. What I love is the idea, like when we start to tackle things, like if you guys could continue to handle the comment threads the way you have been, it will be successful because how to do a brake job, right? Like you're going to get 10 different opinions on how that's supposed to be done, all those kind of stuff. You guys have been, like I said, going back to the beginning, I think that I can't remember somebody that's come along that's just started at the level that you guys have and just continued to rock it up. And I mean, I'm excited. I'm so blessed to be able to get to meet you guys today and get to know you and talk, because I'm just a huge fan. You know what I mean? Like this is I truly enjoy being able to showcase the talents that you guys are. And I think it is so cool that you're putting out there I had ideas years ago. Oh, we need a shop that's like as a reality TV series. And now that's for what you guys are for a lot of us. And you know, Valley Forge, the tires thing on Netflix, that TV show that some people watch, like that's we all like that's a comedy. But you guys are showing what's going on every day in a lot of shops, and I mean, I can't thank you enough for that, because it's the professionalism that you bring is what we need to be really, really bringing more and more. So I want to thank you both for being here today.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you.
I thank you for coming to ASTA. It was, when I heard you guys were going to attend, I was like, there'll be nothing that'll stop me if I have to walk from Canada to shake your both hands and meet you. I was going to do it. So everybody, as always, you know, I love you all. Thank you for being here, and we'll talk to you again soon. Okay. Thank you, guys.
Right.